That winter came earlier than usual. The ancient forest was covered in a dull gray veil, thick mist wrapping itself around every old tree trunk and every narrow path that only those familiar with the woods dared to walk. The wind howled through dry leaves, carrying the scent of damp earth, tree sap, and an unseen danger lurking somewhere deep within. In that forest, a small hunting dog was running in desperation. Its dark golden fur was smeared with mud, its breath ragged and uneven. The dog once belonged to a poor woodcutter living on the edge of the forest. Since it was a pup, it had grown used to the sound of an axe striking wood, to the sharp scent of human sweat, and to warm afternoons spent basking in the sun before a crooked wooden hut. One day, while following its owner deep into the forest, the dog chased after a rabbit and lost its way back. When night fell, the forest was no longer a gentle place. The first howl echoed from far away, long, cold, and hollow. The dog froze, ears standing straight up, heart pounding violently. It had heard that sound before, but never this close. Then a second howl answered, then a third, coming from different directions. A wolf pack panic seized the dog. It bolted forward, paws crunching loudly on dry leaves, betraying its position. Shadows flickered between the trees. Yellow eyes gleamed in the darkness. A large wolf stepped forward, lowering its body and growling softly, the signal to attack. The chase began. The dog ran with every ounce of strength it had left, its lungs burning as if they might burst. Thorny branches tore into its skin, blood soaking into its fur. Suddenly a wolf leaped and clamped its jaws around the dog's hind leg. The dog yelped in agony and tumbled to the ground, struggling wildly. An instant. The others surrounded it, fangs and claws glinting under the pale moonlight. The dog fought back weakly, snapping in blind desperation. It managed to bite the ear of a young wolf, but a powerful blow soon slammed its head against a tree trunk. The world spun. Half conscious, the dog heard only growls and felt the cold earth beneath its body. Then a gunshot tore through the night. The wolves froze. One yelped in pain and fled into the forest. A second shot rang out, then a third. Muzzle flashes lit the mist, and the smell of gunpowder spread through the air. The pack panicked and retreated, leaving only bloody tracks behind. A hunter emerged from the fog. He was over 50, his weathered face framed by a graying beard. A worn hunting rifle rested on his shoulder, a leather bag slung across his back. He had been tracking deer since afternoon, and the wolf's howls had drawn him off course. When he saw the dog lying motionless, he knelt down immediately. Concern filled his aging eyes. He placed a hand on the dog's chest and let out a breath of relief when he felt a faint but steady heartbeat. "Hang on, little one," he murmured. He tore a strip from his coat and wrapped it tightly around the bleeding wounds to slow the flow of blood. The dog's hind leg was badly torn, its side shredded with deep claw marks. The hunter examined each injury carefully, his movements slow but precise, guided by years of experience with wounded animals. Gently, he lifted the dog into his arms as if carrying a child and followed a narrow trail back to his small hunting cabin deep in the forest. The journey felt twice as long as usual. The cold wind lashed at his face, but he never stopped, pausing only to check the dog's breathing. The wooden cabin finally appeared through the mist. He laid the dog on an animal hide spread across the floor, lit a fire, and boiled water. When it was ready, he sterilized his knife over the flames and carefully cut away the blood-matted fur around the wounds. The dog whimpered softly, its body trembling, but it was too weak to resist. The hunter washed the wounds with warm water, removing dirt, leaves, and debris. He sprinkled medicinal powder from his leather bag, an old remedy he always carried, then stitched the torn flesh with thick thread and a needle. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from worry. Each stitch was placed with care, minimizing the dog's pain as much as possible. After bandaging the wounds, he covered the dog with an old blanket and placed it close to the fire. That night he barely slept, rising again and again to add wood to the flames, change the water, and whisper words of comfort as if the dog could hear him. The days that followed passed slowly. The hunter set aside his hunting rifle and stayed close to the cabin. He cooked thin porridge, blew on each spoonful to cool it, and patiently fed the dog. When the dog was too weak to swallow, he waited, stroking its fur and speaking softly. Each morning he changed the bandages and inspected the wounds, smiling when he saw the bleeding stop and new skin beginning to form. Eventually, the dog opened its eyes and focused on the unfamiliar yet gentle face above it. The hunter's calm voice and kind eyes made it feel safe. Its tail gave a faint wag, just enough to make the man smile. Weeks passed. The dog learned to stand again, then to walk in shaky steps. The hunter made it a collar from leather cord and gave it a new name, Flam, because it survived by the fire, and because a spark burned fiercely in its eyes. Their bond deepened day by day. Flame followed the hunter into the forest, at first staying close to the cabin, then venturing farther. It learned to obey commands and to track scents. The hunter never treated it as a tool, but as a companion. But the forest did not forget. The wolf pack had lost several members that night. They remembered the smell of gunpowder, the scent of blood, and the dog that had survived. One late afternoon, as the pair traveled deep into the northern valley, the mist thickened without warning. A sense of unease crept over the hunter. He signaled to turn back, but it was too late. Howls erupted, closer and more urgent. The wolves emerged from all sides, The leader was massive, a long scar across its muzzle, the same wolf wounded on that fateful night. Its eyes burned with hatred. The hunter raised his rifle but managed only one shot. Another wolf lunged from the side and clamped its jaws around his arm. He fell hard, the rifle skidding across the ground. Blood soaked his sleeve. Flame roared. No longer the helpless dog of the past, it hurled itself into the pack without hesitation. It charged straight at the alpha wolf, locking its jaws around the wolf's throat. The two rolled across the ground, fur and blood flying. Another wolf attacked from behind, sinking its teeth into Flame's back. Pain ripped through it, but it did not release its grip. With a violent twist, Flame snapped the neck of a young wolf rushing in. The crack of bone echoed sharply. The hunter struggled to rise, drawing the hunting knife from his belt and plunging it into a wolf, preparing to strike Flame. But he was too weak. A powerful blow sent him crashing down again. Driven by sheer will, Flame fought on and killed another wolf, then positioned itself in front of the wounded hunter, growling fiercely. Its body was torn and bleeding, but fear did not exist in its eyes. The remaining wolves hesitated. Their leader was dead. Several lay motionless. One by one they howled and retreated, carrying a new terror with them. When the forest fell silent, Flame returned to the hunter's side. It licked the blood from his hand and whined softly. The hunter opened his eyes and smiled weakly. "Well done, my old friend," he whispered. Flame lay close beside him, using its body to keep him warm just as the hunter once had. They were found at dawn by villagers, a man and a dog bound by gratitude, loyalty, and lives saved by one another.